Do you have a deck that you absolutely love to play, but you never do because it's a little too much? Well, what do I mean by that? I'm Brian, the Unskilled Commander, and one of my favorite decks is my Landfall deck. It's blue-green, it's Ais, the Tyrant of the Gyre Strait, so he's a 6-drop, so it takes a little while to get him out, but it's in green, so you can ramp pretty easy. And one of his abilities is you get to play an additional land on each of your turns. And his other ability is that when you play a land, or when it enters the battlefield under your control, you get to draw a card. And it's just a ton of fun to play because obviously I have it stacked with a lot of creatures that have landfall abilities. So when land comes in, I'm gaining a life, or my opponents are milling, or I'm making a 3/3 beast, or I'm putting a counter on something, etc. And I have a ton of cards that let me play extra lands. So either things like Exploration or Burgeoning that lets me play an extra land when an opponent does, or an extra land, I can play an extra land on my turn, or just things like Rampant Growth, Cultivate, Explosive Vegetation, anything that's putting more lands onto the battlefield will all trigger the commander. And I just have so much fun playing it because it just is goofy fun. And I do have a couple really fun combos in it that could win the game, but I don't think I've ever actually won with the deck. Because even though I'm drawing a crazy amount of cards, I never draw into those actual win cons that have counters and such that allow me to like basically machine gun down the opponents in rapid succession. But the whole point of the question in the video is that as much as I love the deck, I don't really get to play it that often because what happens is once it gets going a little bit, it is I play a land, well, I get to draw a card. Oh, and I get to gain a life. And you all mill one. And then I get to make a 3/3 beast. But I get to play a second land because of my commander, so I play that. So I get to draw a card. Gain a life. You all mill. I do. And oh, look, I'm going to play Explosive Vegetation. So 2 more lands come into the battlefield. So guess what? I do all that another time. I gain a life. I draw a card. And so my turns take a long time. And I'm playing 3, 4, 5 lands every turn for the most part, especially if I can get like an Evolving Wilds out. So that comes in, it triggers it. I crack it to get a basic. That triggers it again. If I have Crucible of Worlds, now I can play a land from my graveyard. Guess what? I'm going to play the Evolving Wilds, get 2 more triggers. It's just, I don't really have a lot of decks that are that trigger intensive and that involved. So it's a really fun way to get outside my comfort zone and to play the deck, but I feel guilty because it takes forever. You know, my turns are like 5 minutes or 6, 7 minutes because I'm doing all this a million times. And I know from my perspective, it kind of isn't fun when you just watch someone play solitaire. I hate, even in just in a 4-player pod, when it takes like 10 minutes to get to my turn again because, oh, this person's bouncing a billion things and and then the turn. Oh, finally, I can play a land and play a Soul Ring and okay, pass. And now I got to sit there and wait. So I don't want to be that person. So I kind of just like, sit on the deck and only bring it out every once in a while. Not to mention when I'm on people's streams, helping them with their content and stuff like that and playing, I don't really want to play that deck on stream. So, because it takes so long and I don't want to bog down the entertainment value of the stream. So what about you? Do you have decks that you really love and you put work into and they function and they're fun for you to play, but you kind of don't do them because whatever it is they do kind of bogs down the game? And I'm not necessarily talking about decks that are just super powerful, although that will count as well. If you have a deck that's almost guaranteed to win by turn 4 or 5 and you love it, you put the work into it, but you don't play it because it's hard for your friends to keep up with it or whatever. That counts, and I get that. But are there decks and mechanics in Magic that you've built around that are just so much fun for you to play, but you just can't because you feel bad about playing and slowing things down? I'm really curious to what else is out there besides like something like Landfall that can slow down or maybe Flicker or something like that. Let me know in the comments. Be sure to follow so you don't miss other Magic the Gathering content, and please check out my other social medias. See you next time.